Alright, what's up, guys? Okay, today I've been thinking a lot about the Speedbag. So, it seems like the Speedbag is not used as much as it used to be. It used to be a pretty common thing in every gym, and every boxer used to, they'd spend some time on the Speedbag, either warm up or cool down on the Speedbag, alright? Now, a lot of gyms, sometimes they have a Speedbag, sometimes they don't. A lot of people, someone might come up, hit it a couple times, and then move on, There's also some talk about the Speedbag. People don't really understand what the point of it is, okay? Well, if you think about it, it is literally to develop speed, right? If you think about how you punch, pushing out, you're traditionally kind of taught like a piston almost. You push out, you shift your weight and you push out your hands like this. But you can only go so fast with this motion, right? You can only shift your weight so fast, you can only step so fast, and you can only push your hands out so fast until they get to the point where you could go faster, but they get in the way of each other, right? You could do something like that, but that's not really realistic because no one's head is shaped horizontally, right? But if you think about, you can roll your hands way faster than you could actually punch with this mechanic here, right? But you can roll you can do something like that way faster, even though those are not technically punches how we traditionally think of them, right? But this rolling motion allows you to punch way faster, okay? So you probably wouldn't do something like this in a real fight. I mean, to some degree, if you've watched some slow motion, some fights in slow motion, sometimes you see something like this, right? And I have seen people get an angle and they'll throw over the top from the side when they're in a pretty safe position, and they'll do like a 1-2-1 kind of just rolled quick little combo, right? But typically these are not how you would really punch. But if you have the capability to go that fast, these can be setups, right? These little quick feigns, not even a real punch, like a feint, or he slaps. You're feigning, you slap someone's glove, you can get them to react. You can make them react that way, okay? There's an old video of someone who used to train with Bruce Lee, and they were saying something like, they were amazed, like how fast he was, okay? And he would ask Bruce, like, how can you be that fast? Like, how are you doing this fast? And Bruce told him, like, I'm not that fast. I'm making you think I'm that fast, okay? So boxing, just like all these other martial arts, they're arts, but it's 80% mental, 90% mental, So a lot of it is intimidation, deception, right? That's what I always thought was cool about boxing. It's about how smart you are. You got to outsmart your opponent a lot of times, okay? But that kind of flicking motion, you get more of this circular elbow kind of motion from hitting the Speedbag. But that really increases your hand speed, right? It doesn't always have to be a punch, right? These can be follow-ups after a punch, and then you see that he's going to throw, and you can pin him. So punch, pin, punch, put something, a blinder, punch, block, you get your hands quick enough to snap and come right back, right? There's a lot to the Speedbag that you don't think about. But there's a lot of benefits that more than just like everybody says is shoulder conditioning, hand-eye coordination. Yes, it does do those things as well, but there's a lot to it that you got to spend time with it to get the benefits, okay? So there are subtleties to the Speedbag that you will not reap the benefit of unless you spend a lot of time with the Speedbag. So I like to use it as a warm-up, okay? I come to the gym, and I hit the Speedbag for 10, 15, 20 minutes straight, okay? Now the reason I'm doing this, and I'm not taking breaks, I'm just trying to hit it for a long period of time, is because I'm warming up. I'm warming up. I'm getting my blood flowing, but I'm also warming up my mind, all right? When you're doing this circular kind of motion, especially how you're crossing the center line like this, I'm crossing my center line with my hands. Your brain is two hemispheres, right? You got the right and left side, and they control different things, right? One side is very logical, mathematical. The other side's very creative, okay? Free and creative kind of thinking, right? But I think any of these activities, jumping rope, running, shadowboxing too, but like a lot of these activities, especially if you're going, this constant motion of right, left, right, left. So I got this going on with my feet, then my hands are doing something completely, I guess not different, it's related, right? They're in sync, not one-to-one, that can be, but as I get going, my hands are in sync at a more complicated rhythm. I'm shifting my weight, my feet are going right, left, but my hands are going faster than that, right? It's causing more of a mind-body connection. It's syncing up your feet and your hands to a degree above just one step, one punch, one step, one punch. You're going beyond that, okay? How much of that is actually applicable physically to a fight is debatable, right? Okay? But there's a mental benefit to this, right? This is causing you to be able to think on your toes, right? People who are really good at the Speedbag, it's a very complicated thing to be doing, right? But you do this for for months and years, and eventually you get to the point where you can think about, I got to get the groceries, I got to do my laundry today. You can think while doing something very complicated like that, okay? Similar to jumping rope. It's not that jumping rope it is great cardio, but what really benefits you is the rhythm you gain from it, right? And the fast twitch muscles in your legs and feet, but your hands are doing something circular, your feet are doing something completely different. They're not necessarily one-to-one synced up, but they are in rhythm with each other, all right? So rhythm, very important in boxing, okay? And the Speedbag is just another kind of concept like that, right? You don't fight like you jump rope, right? You don't fight like you hit the Speedbag, but there are very good mental benefits to these activities, okay? Okay, so there are a lot of different exercises you can do with the Speedbag, right? You don't just have to hit it constantly, at one pace. You can vary the pace, right? You can throw combinations on it, right? So I have I always thought, I don't know if this is true or not, just kind of my own theory. My theory was that it was developed, my theory is that when the Speedbag was first invented, it was to help get your 1-2s and your combos real fast. Like I think people were throwing just straight up combinations on the Speedbag because you have to bring your hand back, right? It works these muscles bringing your hand out of the way, right? Helps your 1-2. And I think eventually people started doing the rolls and stuff like that. And I think they were doing that to kind of show off, but then that eventually became more of the way people hit the Speedbag typically. But you can do these combinations. I work my 1-2 on the Speedbag all the time, okay? I hit it normally. Boom, 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 boom. Right? You take a little step back, get more of a stance, and you can do these different exercises with the Speedbag. A lot of times I hit it. This is just a pool noodle for demonstration, but that's another thing. You can get, if you don't have a Speedbag, they're loud. This is really quiet. This is easy to set up. You could just tape this in a door frame, take it down when you're done, okay? You get the same benefits. A lot of the same benefits. I mean, it's a little different. You do have to make a little more adjustments on the Speedbag, but you do have to have more snap in your punches when you're hitting this pool noodle, right? But on the real Speedbag, I'll hit it and I move my head. Bup, bup, bup. I try to hit it, get closer, and just dip, 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 and try to move it, try to do my head movement while it's moving really fast like that, okay? It sharpens your senses, sharpens your eyes. It helps you make these microscopic adjustments, okay? That's a really good benefit to the Speedbag, is you have to make microscopic adjustments with your hands, with your feet, with your distance, with your head, with your eyes, okay? And that's what heightens your senses above like a typical kind of martial artist who maybe doesn't hit the Speedbag. They just might not have that extra level, right? Okay. So it heightens your senses, right? This rolling motion, like this constant kind of right, left, but I'm doing circles, right? It syncs up your brain hemispheres, right? Your brain is firing right, left, constantly like that. So it's strengthening the mind-body connection. It's getting you to be able to think on your toes. You can think while moving, think while setting things up, putting you steps ahead of your opponent, right? But what else it does is it allows you to make microscopic adjustments. Right? So if you think about boxing, what makes boxing so difficult? You got a lot of people try it and then they just can't get it, and then they'll move on to something else, which is fine. That's cool. Find what you like. But what makes boxing so difficult? It's technically just punching, but why is it so hard? Okay? And if you think about it, because of the pace. MMA, other sports, kickboxing, you got to worry about kicks. MMA, you got to worry about takedowns. The pace is a little slower because the distance is a little slower, right? Kicking range is, to be outside of kicking range is really only a couple inches outside of punching range, but in a fight, that's a big distance in a fight, okay? But that's enough to kind of slow the pace a little bit, right? You see things coming a little bit. In MMA, you got a lot more to worry about, but the pace overall is a little slower, right? When you're boxing, you're typically, maybe, one step outside of punching range, and the guy's feinting you like crazy, and these punches, they're fast, right? Boxers have fast hands, right? So boxers, because of that faster pace, they're able to process the fight faster. They're used to seeing things faster, if that makes sense, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with the Speedbag. You get used to making these microscopic adjustments on the Speedbag, and then it helps you in the actual fight because you can think just at that little higher level. You process the fight a little bit faster than someone who maybe doesn't hit the Speedbag, or someone who's not used to that pace, right? A lot of the times the MMA fighters that go and they try boxing, and it's just completely different, right? They're just not used to it. They're not used to the pace of the punches, the pace of the fight. They're not used to the distance, the gloves. Like, there's a lot to it that makes it so difficult, right? And, that's not knocking them. Everything's different, right? Everybody has their own each art has their own specialties. But that's boxing's thing, right? That fast pace, you're pretty close to the opponent, and the punches are, there are people with lightning fast hands, right? And they're going to set you up, and they're going to be thinking like a chess match 2 or 3 steps ahead of you, right? So I think hitting the Speedbag is a big component to getting that extra edge in a boxing match, or even in self-defense. It gets you comfortable with making these kind of little adjustments that can be a lot, right? You got to get your hand in the perfect position. You got to hit the bag pretty much perfectly every time, right? You know, so that's something to think about. You got to have a good distance, and you got to be able to do this without thinking. Eventually, just autopilot, right? And that's what you want. You want to be able to do some of these moves just autopilot, right? Even your shadow boxing and stuff. You see the guys do the shoe shine, right? You don't really see that too often in a fight, but that's the same kind of thing as the speed bag. You just do something like this for like a warm-up, 5 minutes straight, and you're warming up your mind. You're getting your blood flowing. You're getting a good mind-body connection because it's just something constant. But it's good rhythm between your hands and your feet, right? I can keep shifting from foot to foot, increase the speed of my hands, bring it back down without changing the pace of my feet, right? So that's what I think about when I think about rhythm. It's the rhythm between your hands and feet, almost like a dancer, right? You can keep the same pace of your steps and increase the speed of your hands, do stuff like that. It's just, this is the kind of stuff that takes you a step above everybody else, right? A lot of people hit a plateau in their training, and this is the kind of thing that I think will break you out of that. These rhythm exercises, these coordination exercises that just, they do have benefit. You wouldn't necessarily throw these little uppercuts like this in a fight, every now and then you see it used somewhat, but it's the mental aspect of it that will just take you that step above, okay? So if anything, use it as a warm-up. Get used to hitting the speed bag. First thing when you get to the gym, you do a little stretch, you wrap your hands and hit the speed bag for at least 5 minutes straight. 10, 15, that's probably even better. But at first, if you can just only do it for 5, do it for 5. But do this every day. Do this every time you go to the gym. Just even if you don't think there's any benefit to it now, trust me, you will notice the benefit over time. You have to do it to get the rewards, though. Because these benefits, like I'm saying, I'm trying to describe them, but I think there's subtleties to the speed bag that I think you'll really appreciate, but you have to put the work in. You have to learn how to do it first, and you have to do it consistently to get these benefits, okay? So if anything, it puts you in the zone, right? You get warmed up, you get your mind warmed up, you get in the zone. That's where you want to be, especially if you're sparring, right? If you're going in there to spar, you want to get your blood flowing, you want to get your brain warmed up, you want to be in the zone, right? I think it was Kobe Bryant had a quote when talking about like when he goes out to play, and he said he goes out, he gets in the zone, and it's like he can see his opponents move before they do it, right? So that's kind of what I'm describing here. You get in the zone, and you're gonna be able to subconsciously pick up on your opponent's movements, and you get a better read on them, right? This is the kind of stuff that puts boxing, that makes boxing so difficult, especially for someone who's not used to it. And I think a big part of it is just doing speed bag stuff. These kind of little rhythm exercises. Boxers are known for having good rhythm, and a good boxer has really good rhythm, right? So, if you're a beginner, learn to hit the speed bag now, right? If you're intermediate, or if you're at a plateau, maybe start thinking about these rhythm exercises. Maybe spend more time jumping rope, hitting the speed bag, get more of these kind of coordination rhythm things going on, and maybe you'll notice that you'll break out of that plateau, and you'll be a little better over time, okay? But you got to put the work in, right? You got to learn to hit the speed bag. You got to do it consistently, okay? So try it out. Like the video, sub the channel. Peace.